everyone, and welcome to the Body and Soul Expo podcast, your go-to source for holistic health and wellness. I'm your host, Bruce Starr. Mark your calendars and join us on Sunday, October 26th, 2025 at the beautiful Palm Beach Gardens Marriott, because it's going to be an absolutely incredible event, a truly transformational day you won't want to miss. It's been amazing to see the response we've received from our community. We sold out over 70 vendor spaces in less than 2 months. Many of these vendors are also talented speakers, ready to share their insights on both innovative and classic healing practices. You're just going to have to be there to discover it all. The Expo is a culmination of our combined experience, Lauren's 3 decades in health and wellness and owning spas, and my tagging along with her, my 4 decades in the entertainment world, from being a talent agent in Hollywood to my work on TV, podcasts, and now back on the radio on Legends 100.3 FM Saturday mornings from 7 to 8 a.m. and heard around the world over live streaming. To stay up to date with our announcements, follow the Body and Soul Expo page on Facebook. And for a full breakdown of everything we have in store for you, be sure to visit bodyandsoulexpo.org website and see everything that's planned for you. On today's show, we're diving back into the lineup, highlighting the amazing talents and experiences and knowledge of the wonderful vendors who will be with us at the Expo. And we have a very, very special guest for you on today's show. Sarah Spiritual is the founder of the Expedito Enlightenment Center in West Palm Beach, Florida, which is approaching its 20th year of being in service to the community. At the center, she offers personal readings, meditation, and spiritual development classes, and her exclusive line of handmade spiritual products. For the past 16 years, she has also hosted and produced the nationally broadcast radio show Spiritually Seeking with Sarah, which airs weekly on 6 South Florida radio stations and streams live on Facebook and YouTube to audiences worldwide. How impressive is that? So excited to have you, Sarah, on the show. You know, we've known of each other. We've known about each other for many, many years, probably too many years that I want to speak about. But we're so glad that you accepted our invitation to be at the Expo. You're one of our keynote speakers, along with Danny and Brinkley, along with Dr. Eric Pearl and Trish McCannon. So thank you so much for accepting our invitation. And now I'm just looking forward to learning a lot more about you that I don't already know.
Well, my pleasure. I'm glad I'm going to be a part of the event. I'm truly very excited. We've passed the word out. All of my radio listeners are aware that we're going to be there. So we're looking forward to sharing the day with all the vendors, all the speakers and the keynote speakers, and all of us coming together in the energy of love and light to help transform the world.
It's a first-time event like this in North Palm Beach County. You know, they've done them in Fort Lauderdale, they've done them in Boca, they've done them in Pompano and Delray, but they've never done an event like this in North Palm Beach County. So we took advantage of that because people are so talented here, and they always have to go to California, New York, Miami to do an expo. And
Right.
now we're going to do the first of many right here in North Palm Beach County.
I'm looking forward to that. And it's going to be exciting because North Palm Beach County has a lot of people who are very interested in spiritual advancement, enlightenment. I have a lot of people who come through my Expedito Enlightenment Center, and they're looking for guidance. They're looking for someone to mentor them. They're looking for tools to assist them on their spiritual journey. So it's important that we hold this, and I'm really glad that you're putting this together, Bruce.
Thank you. Imagine 70 vendors, all very vetted, and we've talked to every one of them. Every one of them is as talented in their way as you are in yours. So imagine 70 vendors that people will be able to meet and talk to. And also the Saturday before for the vendors, I'll talk to you about that right after. We're going to get together because I think it's going to be so busy that the vendors just won't get a chance to get to know each other like some
Right.
other expos that maybe are not so well attended. So, Sarah, where did you grow up? And when did you first realize that you had some extra talent, different kind of talent that maybe your friends didn't have?
Well, when I was growing up, I wasn't exposed to anything spiritual except for showing up at church for the major holidays a year, right? So that was my exposure. But I really didn't know much about spirituality until a little later on in life. Yes, I always had a sixth sense. I kind of knew things were going to happen, but it wasn't anything that important that I would say to someone, "Oh, I knew that was going to happen." It was more something that I said within myself. It was a gentle knowing that just made me think I knew that. And so my life went on, and it was through dissatisfaction in life and my seeking other guidance that kind of led me into a little spiritual shop. I was in a Christian faith, so I went into a spiritual shop, and sometimes that's frowned upon. And I kind of saw that there were other things there about spirituality, and so that really didn't happen for me until a little later on in life. When I was in New Jersey, I grew up in Westchester County, New York, born in New Jersey.
I grew up in Yonkers.
I grew up in Hartsdale, New York,
Oh my
and
God, we were neighbors.
yeah, we were neighbors, and I
The
was
Blue Bus on Central Avenue.
Central Avenue, absolutely. And I used to spend a lot of time there. And that was my father was a country club manager in Westchester, Metropolis Country Club, and then Old Oaks Country Club, New York. So we spent a lot of time getting to know people. I worked for my father. That's how I learned really to make people feel special and feel important. And it was through all of these experiences and my seeking outside a work away from the restaurant business that led me into a path where I was able to empower people. And that was through Mary Kay Cosmetics. And when I was in Mary Kay Cosmetics, I was a senior sales director. And so I got to work with Mary Kay Ash herself, and she taught me to make people feel special. So there was always a theme that I always wanted to empower and enrich people's lives. My earlier days, I was in the Miss America pageant, so I did all the local pageants that led up to the Miss America pageant, and so it was always about taking this message out into the world. So there was this beacon of light that wasn't discovered. There was this beacon of light that was there, yearning to feel better about life and realizing that some of the day-to-day activities in life can be a little dissatisfactory. So it was in that moment of this dissatisfaction. My father had passed. I was in New Jersey at the time because he had opened up a country club in New Jersey and he had asked me to move. So I readily moved. I was able to make that accommodation. And then he unexpectedly passed. And then I also lost my grandmother right after that. So I lost my two best friends. I was pregnant at the time. And I was at that low point. You know, that low point, Bruce, where your whole world has crashed. You know, you think you're this person who's an accomplished person who's, done great things in your life, and you're looking for the next tag in the society that will say you're accomplished, and you don't have people to share it with. And it was in this very down moment that I was in a computer store. They had hired me per diem to work there to help them with their training department, because Mary Kay Cosmetics had a great way of training individuals. So it was in this training that I was able to help them set up their training program and call out to businesses. And I was there the day that they were calling out for businesses and teaching them how to do that. And they had the most strange experience. And I was in Parsippany, New Jersey at the time, and I was training them, and they were very flustered and they kept interrupting my training. And I thought, what's going on? And they kept saying, there's this man outside, he's crazy. And he's asking to sign up for this website development, but he seems really weird. He's here with his wife. And, he keeps giving us mumbo jumbo. And so everyone went out to try to register this man. And I thought to myself, well, this is crazy. So why don't I just go volunteer to do this? So I took the papers from them and I said, where does he have to sign? I said, I'm from New York. I can get anybody's credit card. I can do that, right? I said, so let me go and talk to this man. And this way I can get back to this training that I'm doing. And so I went out and I saw a very well-dressed man. His wife was well-dressed. I complimented his tie. Mary Kay always taught us to compliment people and make them feel special. And he complimented my nails. And we had a conversation. And I'm thinking, this man isn't crazy. Now, Bruce, what happened next forever changed my life. It was that moment where you decide whether you're going to go left or right. I took the paperwork from him and I thought, you did it, girl. You got him, right? And he looked at me and he said, your father just died, and your grandmother too. And you're going through all of these things in your life. And he started to rattle off what I was experiencing. And at first, my Christian training kicked in, and I was like, oh my God, it's the devil, right? I was like, what's happening here? And there was a voice that came in my mind. And I remember it came from the left side, and it said, you need to listen to this man.
Wow.
And I kind of laughed it off and I continued my conversation with him. And it was very odd. And he says, I'll be back tomorrow. And he left. And I was like, oh God, that was weird. And so when I went into the office, everyone was like, how was your conversation with him? And I said, oh, it was fabulous. And I didn't say a word, right? How dare I say a word? I was like, no, I can't. And so I kept it to myself. I was not supposed to be there the next day. But of course, as fate would have it, they said, could you come in tomorrow between 3 and 5 and help wrap this up because we want to launch this project? And I said, of course. And who do you think walked in? That man the very next day. And I remember he brought me this teeny little New Testament with Book of Psalms. He brought me some little bath salts. And I'm thinking, oh, this is getting so weird. And he said, you really need to take this bath and clear your energy and read these prayers and really come see me this weekend. And I'm like, I'm not going to someone's house. I'm going to die in Parsippany, New Jersey. No one will know where I am. But that voice kept talking to me and said, you'll be okay. And so I did go to meet him and his wife at his house, and there began the conversations that awakened me to something even more. Now, he never had any students. I was his only student. He told me that he was sent to see me, and that's why he couldn't sign up with anybody else. Everyone who registered with him and tried to get this complete, he knew his spirit knew it was not the person. He specifically went there to meet me so that he could hand me his light. When I tell you, Bruce, that I saw this man heal cancer, take people out of comas, I saw miracles happen in my time that I sat with him. But even then, Bruce, I didn't know that I was sitting there listening to someone who was mentoring me for my future because I did ask him at times, do you think I'll do what you do? And he said, you're on track to be a VP and you want to earn 85,000 plus commission. That's the goal, right? Because remember, Bruce, we have free will. So I said, yes. And he said, okay, then that's what we're going to focus on. And he taught me how to pray. He taught me how to shift energy. He taught me how to bring things to myself, how to manifest. And I saw miracles happen. I began hitting numbers, pick three lottery numbers, winning 6 times in a week for months, just moving forward because I became the law of attraction because this man's energy surrounded me and engulfed me so that I could then realize that we have our own power.
Wow, what a great, great story. And so like down to earth, something that anybody can relate to. And you gave me a little insight to, there's a lot of psychics out there. There's a lot of readers. There's a lot of people that have extra abilities. And now I see how Sarah Spiritual kind of rose above the crowd. You got that New York, New Jersey thing, man. That was a help. But I've always been in awe of your ability to take something that's in this world a little off, a little different, and do what you've done with it. Because, I've been in TV and radio my whole life, and I always had a lot of respect for you because of what you've done with your skills and your abilities. And I've been really very impressed with you.
Thank you. I believe that unbeknownst to all of us, the universe, God, the angels are preparing us. So if I look back now in my life, and as I'm sure you have, little things that happened were always preparing us for where we are now. All of my show business, right? My need and desire to help humanity through the pageants, my ability in restaurants to service people and manage projects, my goal to be a corporate guru at one point, which proved to be very dissatisfactory at the end of the story, right? But it was something that was necessary. Everything prepared me for where I am today. Because when my teacher passed, it was 2002, and I was in New Jersey, and I literally felt the light leave. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And so I sat there and I said, all right, well, we're going to have to pull ourselves together, remember everything he taught you, and keep moving. And then the strangest thing happened. I became more dissatisfied with my job. I loved the people, but I didn't love doing the work. At that point, I was doing offshore outsourcing. I was taking US jobs and putting them into the Philippines, South Africa. And it was a great challenge. It was fabulous to do, right? To close $14 million deals. That's exciting, but it wasn't fulfilling me. And so I began to have that dissatisfaction that I mentioned earlier. And it was in that dissatisfaction that when his wife moved to Florida, she said, you should come visit me. I said, oh, well, I travel, I'll visit you. And so I visited, and then I came back, and then I thought, it was July of 2004. I had just gotten a new car. It was a 2004 Mustang. Now,
Nice.
let me tell you, I mean, right? I was in a company where I was making good money. I said, "Let me get this car." And everyone said to me, "What are you gonna do with the car?" Like this. What are you gonna do with that car, darling, when the ice comes? Like, what are we gonna do when you're on Route 3 and you run into the Lincoln Tunnel and then you crash into someone? What are you gonna do? Right? So I said, I don't know. I just feel like I need this. So I got that in April, and then in July, I was packing up to move to Florida because I felt nothing was there for me here. And I could work from anywhere. So I moved to Florida, and this is where life got really tricky. And this is what brought me to exactly where we are now. I moved to Florida and I was here. We got hit with two hurricanes. I think they were Francis and Jean in 2004. So I became initiated, as I like to say, right? I'm a Floridian officially after that.
Jeez.
And then on Christopher Columbus Day in October of 2004, I was at a table. I got up, I took two steps, and I fell, Bruce. And I will tell you, someone pushed me, but I will also tell you that nobody was there. I felt this push, right? Because I may have been in a new environment. Now I know it was all a ruse to get me to Florida. But I felt this energy push me down and I got hurt. And now I was faced with applying everything my teacher Bill had taught me, how to heal myself, how to regenerate my energy, because I didn't want to go the path of, at the time, they were giving opioids out at like paper, like, as candy, right? So that was their answer. They had surgery as answers. And I said, oh no, that's not what I feel I should do. So again, that voice said, no, you're going to heal yourself. And in that stillness, I realized I didn't want to do my job. So I left. I realized there was something more, and I had to be still and patient. And what I'll tell your listeners is when you're going through a major transition, if you are not patient, if you do not wait for the universe to reveal what's next for you, you're going to go down the side road, the detour. So in the stillness, I waited. And then I realized I still wanted to help people. And I looked around and I said, well, there really aren't anything spiritual around here. And I can apply my restaurant skills, I could apply my business skills, and I can open up a center where people can come and have community like Mary Kay Ash taught me. And that's how I opened the Expedito Enlightenment Center in 2006.
Wow.
It was
Unbelievable.
it was a powerful, uh, I don't know, one of those revelations, Bruce, where you know you're right for what you're doing, but you don't really know what you're doing. At that point, I had maybe read 20 people in my lifetime. So to open up a center, I really was putting myself in trust. And from the minute I opened, people came one after another, after another, after another. And even the radio show that I have now, that began on an AM station, then moved me to FM. I was on WBZT initially. How that came about is one of my clients brought me to a sales call they were making for a magazine, and they said, "You should come with me." And the man in charge, Ken Harris, offered me an opportunity to be on radio. And so he gave me an hour program. I didn't look for that. It was
Wow.
given to me because now was my chance to be the voice to give people hope. Because if there's anything people need now, Bruce, it's hope. If we don't have hope, how are we going to manage?
So, two things that what brought Lauren and I together is our tremendous desire to help people.
Right.
And that's just the most important thing to us because we know all the other things will come along, but to be able to serve other people, and I think anybody, including yourself, that's involved with us, figures that out. They sense that. They sense that we're not in this for the money or for fame or fortune. We've been through all that. I lived in LA and Hollywood for 10 years. I know what that's all about. But here, everything that I've ever done in the entertainment industry all came together to do this expo. And the other thing I want to briefly talk to you about is I want to do another expo, and I've talked to Julie about this, and we'll talk more about this another time. What you talked about, getting out of an unsatisfactory corporate world, we all know it can be very empty. We all know it can be driven solely for your health benefits and
Right.
for this and for that. And that can not be very fulfilling. I would like to do an expo. We'll talk to you about it, about getting people who have either want to leave corporate or have left, and that there's a whole new world open available to them. So I would love for you and I to be able to do an expo about that because you would be a super great expert on that and a great speaker for it. So we'll talk more about that later.
Thank you. Yeah.
I
That's
wanted to,
actually one of the things I do is I coach people how to make the transition, right? Because I get to see people, as many spiritual people do, at a person's worst. So we have to help them pick through the pieces, just like my spiritual teacher met me. I was at my lowest point, but he knew the story of my future, but could never tell me because we have choices in this path. And that choice is to follow your heart, to follow your soul, and the magic that's within you. And at the expo, one of the key points I'm going to make in my keynote speech is the power of I am, the violet flame of Saint Germain, is a power that transcends. You see, we were given this light by Saint Germain in a channeling. It actually happens a couple of days before I was given the radio contract. And when you read the I am discourses that of the voice of I am of the ascended masters back in the 1930s, they use radio broadcasts, good old fashion, I should say, radio broadcasts to transmit a frequency to awaken people's souls by talking about the power of I am and its manifestation abilities. And so the day I came back from that radio contract signing, the news came. WPTV was at the center, and they were there to do a story about giving people hope. I originally thought my staff was kidding. And they're like, no, they're coming back. And in walked a woman with the TV camera and her sneakers, and she interviewed me. Why is that important? It is important because I didn't do that. I didn't look for it. I didn't ask for it. God brought that to me so that what we, the universe, and I have built, I could just cry just saying it, could then go out and transform the world
Hmm.
and give people a safe haven. Spirit transmits through all of us, Bruce, and allows us to transmit a frequency to help others. So I'll be talking at your event at our fabulous expo about how to manifest and how to shift your life, how to shift your consciousness,
Wow.
how to bring things to you by showing up with your heart and changing your thoughts, because otherwise we undo our work. You could pray, you could light a candle, you could do a ritual, but if underneath it you're saying, I don't know if it's going to happen, what am I going to do? I'm worried, you just undid your work. So it's a transformative time.
Absolutely. So the last thing I want to ask you, and I want to thank you for your time, is when people come to your booth, you have one of the larger booths. You'll be right there in the right there in the forefront there. Uh, what can people expect when they come to your booth? Some people are giving away samples of something. Some people are doing 5 minute this and 10 minute that. What can people expect when they come and meet you and see you at your booth?
Well, expect to have a lot of fun. My staff will be there with us. Okay. So I have some of my people from the Expedito Enlightenment Center. Andrew will be probably heading it up because he runs our center for me. And we're going to be doing spiritual sessions for people. They'll be able to register for a spiritual session at a minimal cost. We're going to have all of our products there from the center. Well, not all, because we have 2,100 square feet in West Palm Beach, but we will have different products for them to buy. A lot of them are curated by me. I handcraft these items, sprays. We have spiritual sprays and oils and even spiritual baths. So we'll have a smattering of items that people can get, and they'll be able to sample some of the oils and the sprays, and we can talk about it. And we just really have a good time. I can say that I've been fortunate at all of these expos. I've met so many great people and they stay with us. They come to the classes that we offer at the Expedito Enlightenment Center regularly. We're launching my apprentice program next week. So we have such a great community that one of the main things we'll be doing for all of the people at the expo is welcoming them into our community, which is fueled by the light of the violet flame and the power of God.
Wow. So honored to
Thank you.
have you be with us that day. And I know the power of what we're going to be able to generate is going to go on for months and years to come. I feel very sure about that. And I want to thank you very much for being a part of it. I look forward to hearing what everybody says about you and the other vendors. So thank you very much. How do you want people to get in touch with you? So if they want to get involved with your classes, they want to have readings. I know when I listen to your radio show, I hear such a caring person. Again, just wanting to help people and be there for people. And there's nothing more rewarding than being able to do it on a radio show that reaches people around the country. So God bless. God has blessed you with that. And I think it's just great. So how can people reach you?
Well, they of course can listen to my radio show every Wednesday night from 6:30 to 9 p.m. And it can be heard on the True Oldies station. They of course can follow it on Facebook and YouTube. So they can just go to my website, sarahspiritual.com, learn more about my radio show, which is my gift to everyone. It is they get to call and ask questions for free. It is just something that they get to do, and I answer questions for 2.5 hours of just
Wow.
connecting with people nonstop. And for a personal session or our classes, they can go to sarahspiritual.com or they can pop by the Expedito Enlightenment Center in West Palm Beach. We're located on Okeechobee Boulevard in the Tree of Life Plaza. And they can even give us a call and say hi to Andrew at 561 682 0955 at the Expedito Center. We welcome them any way they come.
Beautiful. Thank you so much,
My
Sarah.
pleasure.
What a great presentation here. Wonderful podcast. I want to thank you for all that you've done. And I didn't even know that we were neighbors and living right next to each other in Westchester County. I
Yes,
think
we
that's
will.
great.
I'm sure
Well,
we have a lot of fun stories to tell.
yes, and we'll have to get together, under less strict circumstances to share more about each other. Wonderful.
But I'd love to see you there and give my best to Lauren because she and I are friends on Facebook and we follow a lot of the same people. So, and I'm
Beautiful.
so grateful that you thought of me and included me. I really am. It means a lot to me.
It's our pleasure. It's our reward. And I couldn't be happier with what we've done here.
Thank you so much, Bruce. Enjoy your day. I'm going to pop off and get reading.
Thank you. God bless.
All right. Bye.
Bye.